Let's be honest, it's a part of the body society's obsessed with. And if you don't like yours, it can hit your self-confidence hard.
I hate them. So I've lost loads of weight, so it's all gone off my boobs, so I definitely get a boob job.
More symmetry to them, not really the size, just a bit more symmetry because they're just one's bigger than the other.
I lost weight quite rapidly, so I would get a breast lift. Make them bigger, obviously.
So much so that around 8,000 of us get breast implants every year. But while most women love them at first...
What size were they?
I was a 32G.
Wow. Having the boobs they always wanted can turn into a nightmare. Physical pain, extreme fatigue and allergies. It can even lead to mental health problems.
Just so much pain. The fatigue is just...
They call it breast implant illness.
I thought, I'm dying, like I'm really dying. There's something, and it's really horrible, but nobody would listen to me.
But it's still a mystery. No one can agree on what's causing it. Some women are convinced it's their implants, but ask most surgeons.
There is no proven breast implant illness. I have to say, it's in your head, it's not in your breast.
Breast implant illness has turned into a row that's dividing medical professionals around the world.
What more proof do we need?
And many say the UK is lagging massively behind other countries, leaving some women taking huge risks just to try and feel normal again.
I'm really nervous, to be honest. Stakes are a lot higher this time. Yeah, a bit emotional.
No one sees myself like you do.
This is obviously before you had your surgery. It doesn't look like you had much to worry about, really.
No, I think obviously what you're not seeing is probably the toilet tissue underneath stuffing the bra.
We've come to meet Beth, who had breast implants put in when she was 23.
I was never bothered particularly about the size. I was a kind of a B-cup, but the shape of them I just always felt was weird. The underneath, it seemed to fall away too soon, and without a bra or anything, they would literally kind of point to the floor.
Yeah.
I said to my mum, since probably about the age of 16, 17, I don't feel normal, I want breast implants. Everyone had these perfectly round sort of breasts, and mine didn't resemble anything like it.
A few years later, Beth got engaged, but she was so self-conscious she'd never even let her fiancé see her naked.
He was offended at that point as well. He was like, how can you not trust me?
So I guess that caused a few problems intimately.
It was kind of self-loathing, I suppose. I was just not comfortable with him seeing them as they were, and I just really felt like deficient in being a woman.
And it was in the build-up to their wedding that she decided to take the plunge.
I knew that having the breast implants would make me feel a bit differently about things.
Millions of women around the world never experience any problems with breast implants, which are still the most popular choice when it comes to cosmetic surgery. Women have been getting them since the early 60s, and they can set you back up to £8,000. After her surgery, Beth felt great. She had new boobs and a new husband, but it wasn't long before she started having problems. 18 months on, and she was getting unexplained pains, followed by fatigue, muscle spasms, numbness and anxiety.
My knees hurt, my hip hurt, my lower back hurt, and they're all things which had never been a problem for me previously. And I thought, I'm quite a stoic person in general anyway, so it actually takes a lot for me to actually instigate going to the doctors in the first place. With, just over-the-counter medicines, I couldn't control my pain anymore.
Beth's been going back and forth to the doctors for nearly a decade, but they still can't agree on what's causing her symptoms.
There was one MRI of my spine which came back, and it described my spine as pristine. And I was, at that point, I guess you should be grateful. But I was really sort of incensed by it because I thought, it's not, I can feel there's a pain. And I know there's something going on, but it began to make me feel like I was a bit crazy. And it knocks your confidence a little as well.
She's been prescribed everything from painkillers to antidepressants, but after doing her own research online, she's convinced her symptoms are being caused by her implants.
Yeah, there are times where I do have a cry about it. There are times where I feel so let down by my body. My family probably see the worst sides of me, and that upsets me. My beautiful girls just deserve better than that, really. And you know, it's not for want of trying that I'm not able to deliver on that, really.
So how is it that something like a breast implant, in theory, can put someone in the same position as Beth? Well, we've come to Body Worlds in London to talk to Dr. Dan Marsh, who's a plastic surgeon.
You've very kindly come out of surgery for us today to bring along some implants and show us about them. Just tell me exactly what they are.
An implant is basically made of silicone, so you've got a silicone shell. Inside this you've got a sticky silicone gel. It's fairly gooey, so if you were to cut the implant in half, all the gel would sit where it stays. A breast implant is usually placed through an incision under the breast. The implant can go either in front of the muscle or behind the pec muscle. People often think the implant goes into the breast. It actually goes behind the breast. So all of your breast tissue sits in front of the implant.
So how is it that something like that could potentially cause breast implant illness?
I think the honest answer to that is we don't really know what causes it. The jury's still out on whether breast implant illness is a thing, exists. We think that it's the body's reaction to the silicone, but silicone's present in lots of medical devices, cardiac pacemakers, hip joints, knee joints. There aren't people walking around with hip joint associated illness, knee joint associated illness. So we don't really know exactly what it is that is associated with breast implants that can cause the illness.
As for Beth, she's now in so much pain, she's not sure how much longer she can deal with it.
Just checking in and reporting a tricky day. Just so much pain. Oh my God. I just wanted to curl up in a ball. I still want to curl up in a ball, and I'm going to in a minute. Burning sensation in my hip and back, and general fatigue and joints aching and a cracking, stonking headache as well. So I'm hoping tomorrow is going to be a better one. We'll see, hope so. I don't think I can take too many more like this. Anyway, I'm going to sign off now. Night night. Bye bye.
Something Beth's considering is having her implants taken out, but could that help her? We're here to meet Melina. She's already had her breast implants removed, or explanted as it's also known. We're going to find out how she's getting on. Explanting is a risk. It involves going back in for more surgery. Your boobs will obviously get smaller again, and there's no guarantee it'll get rid of your symptoms.
So let's go back to the beginning. Where did this all start? Why did you have your implants in the first place?
I was modelling at the time, and for me it was my boobs don't look good enough for this type of job. I wanted to get them done. I already had quite large breasts anyway. They were big.
Let's see some of the photographs
Right,
then
okay.
from when you were in your modelling days. What size were they? When you had them?
I was a 32G.
Wow.
I was having a great time with them. I was working, I was getting a lot of work. I got pregnant, had my first baby. That's when the symptoms really started. Everything I came in contact with, I had a reaction. Body wash, my creams, and I could literally have a piece of bread and I would be coming out in a rash of my arms, my shoulders. At the end, I just stopped eating. I was so afraid to put something in my mouth without having to feel sick. But I never, ever would have thought it was my implants. You just don't put that together. You think the worst is I have breast cancer, I'm dying, there's something wrong with me. And I kept telling my doctors, I said, there's something wrong with me. There really is, I know. I can't get out of bed in the morning. It was a struggle just to get up and put my daughter to school. And then the brain fog, I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't work, I had to read the same sentence over and over again. Just about managed to put her to school, come back and literally just sleep. I just slept all day long. And at this point, I thought, like, I'm dying, like I'm really dying. There's something, and it's really horrible, but nobody like would listen to me. And it wasn't until a girl on Instagram, this is the power of social media, she told me about this and this group on Facebook, and it was like, oh my God, I have breast implant illness, it's my implants. There was no doubt in my mind that this is it.
Melina says she had to sell her jewellery to pay to get her implants removed, and she thinks the difference was instant.
That brain fog that was sitting on top of my eyes had gone. And the rashes was literally disappearing in front of my eyes. They were just gone. So for me, it was not like, oh, we'll see what happens. It literally happened right after I had them out.
So Melina's story is proof that her implants were the problem. Or is it?
If you feel better, I'll believe you. But I have to say, it's in your head, it's not in your breast.
We do not have a scientific link which proves that these are caused by implants.
There is no proven breast implant illness. It's a description which people use to describe a number of various symptoms. There's a publication recently where 2 women had very similar symptoms. One had had cosmetic implants, the other had had implants for reconstruction. The patient who had had cosmetic implants had them removed and claimed that she felt better. The other woman decided she didn't want to have them removed and she also felt better.
The key question here is, are those symptoms related to breast implants? Is the biggest question we have in our practice, and that's where we lack any evidence.
You hear patients who say, oh, you know, I've got breast implant illness, I'm having my implant out tomorrow. They're then interviewed sometimes on television, they go, I've had my implant out, I feel great. But any scientist would tell you that if the illness is related to a problem with the silicone, it doesn't switch off the moment that the silicone implant is removed. And so that makes you very suspicious that we don't know enough about what's going on.
This is something globally which needs more research.
It's such a nebulous group of symptoms that it's really difficult to come up with a good way of running some scientific research.
Is there a true link? And what is the best treatment or management for these patients? And how do we diagnose them?
We know that there are women who have breast implants who feel unwell with them. What is unknown is whether it is cause and effect or whether there are other things that are going on in their lives as well. And if it does affect you, make sure that you get good advice and I think really get psychological support before you rush into having your implants out. Look at the whole picture. We're doctors, we're supposed to look at the whole patient, not just the small breast.
But despite what the surgeons say, Melina's got no regrets.
Obviously, all those years ago, you loved having bigger boobs and they gave you so much confidence, but now you haven't got them. Are you still as confident as you were?
Yes, a lot more actually.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. This is what I used to have to buy, something like massive. I mean,
yeah,
looks like a parachute, you know, like it's just. And there's not a lot of options then, is there? But
no.
I love my boobs as they are now. I just love the feeling of being natural.
Yeah.
And I have scars. I have anchor scar from here to here. And I've got a scar there, and I've got a scar around my nipple. So I'm filled with scars, but I have never felt more sexy and more confident as I am now. So I know a lot of girls are probably scared to take them out because how they're going to look and feel, but I wouldn't be scared of the feeling after, because the minute you start feeling better, you start feeling more confident anyway. I don't even care what size they are because I'm healthy, you know? And I think ultimately that's what all the women want.
Amazing.
I really like
How
this
do you
one.
feel in it?
I feel great. Like, I mean, this is a halter neck, so normally that would hurt like hell.
And you feel great in it? You feel confident?
Yeah, I feel good. Yeah. I mean, I'm in the shop, but love it.
It only takes a quick search on social media to find breast implant illness groups with tens of thousands of women in. They're frustrated with being told it might all be in their mind when they're convinced the problem is their breast implants. They feel like they're being ignored. The UK has been accused by some experts of not taking breast implant illness seriously enough. Research into it is being made a priority in countries like Australia, the USA and some parts of Europe. So we've flown to Holland, one of the places where surgeons have to warn their patients about it.
Hello, hi,
Hello.
I'm Jan.
Nice to meet you.
Please come in.
Jan's a scientist and is one of the main voices speaking up in support of breast implant illness. He's spent over 25 years researching it. We've spoken to surgeons in the UK who say they do believe that women have got the symptoms that they're describing, but they're not certain it's related to breast implant illness. What do you make of that?
I think that we have sufficient evidence to show that breast implant illness is caused by the breast implants. The immune system tries to remove foreign bodies, and that's of course where you have the immune system for. This is not to say that you get an autoimmune disease because you have a silicone breast implant. It's you have the genetics to develop an autoimmune disease like rheumatoid arthritis or multiple sclerosis, and then in combination with certain environmental factors, and silicone breast implants is one of those environmental factors, you have an increased risk to develop that disease at an earlier age and more severely. You can see that the immune system is activated, you can demonstrate it in biopsies, you can demonstrate it in the blood by doing lab tests. What more proof do we need before we say that this breast implant illness is due to the silicone implantation?
In some countries then the surgeons, Holland for one example, they are asked to tell patients, warn patients of these possible breast implant illness symptoms when they go in for their initial consultations. That's not something that they do in the UK.
No, that's wrong. The UK is wrong for that. So now also in the United States there's a black box warning for plastic surgeons to inform patients that breast implant illness could be induced by breast implant surgery. And that should be done in every country.
Are we lagging behind a little bit then in the way we deal with it?
I think so, yes. Women have the right to know what they're going to do, so the information is crucial.
We've come back to see Beth, who's decided to take the risk and get her implants removed. She's getting ready to head to the hospital.
So we're due to arrive there about 7:30. Perfect outcome would be that I gain my health back, and also she's able to leave my breasts in a form where I'm, contented or reasonably. I don't really care how big they are, but I just want to feel that they are, that word again, normal. I'm really nervous, to be honest. I didn't think I would be. I'm quite, before they were actually put in, I had a few butterflies, but not anything like this. But of course, the stakes are a lot higher this time. I've got 2 children. Yeah, a bit emotional.
For you afterwards, as a husband, what would it mean?
Well, in the short term, I'll be doing the cooking, the housework. Oh yeah, no different then. No, sorry. I'll answer that properly. It'll be amazing. I can't remember when you weren't in pain. I don't even know what that looks like. I'm so proud of the way that you've got on with it, really, because a lot of people would have fallen off a cliff by, you know what I mean, and dropped off and not been able to function. So to do the things you do makes me proud of you. I'm just so hopeful that this is the solution. To be fair, even the surgeon today was still very You know, there is no proof about this, but we're kind of, and it was almost a
She
little
did
bit.
Acknowledge that
There could be issues further down the line, and we don't know these things yet. But there was an element of we're doing this for your peace of mind, not for your physical health.
So Beth, you've been in surgery for a few hours and a little bit of recovery time. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, relatively good. I'm on quite a lot of pain relief, but I guess that was to be expected.
And do you feel any different? You're on painkillers at the moment, but at the moment, do you feel any different?
I feel quite clear-headed considering the level of drugs that I'm on. And I think some of that's probably excitement.
And you don't have any sort of sad feelings that they're now gone? You're...
Not at this stage. I guess I haven't had that. I haven't been confronted with their appearance yet. But the two ladies who were looking after me post-surgery said what a lovely result that had been achieved already. So I think I'd probably got a little more breast tissue than I had anticipated. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them at some point. Not just yet. But yeah, I'm just so happy. I'm kind of through to the healing phase.
Yeah.
And I can hopefully get my life back on track a bit.
While most women live happily with implants and will never have to face what Beth's gone through, should the government be doing more to support others like her? We asked the Department of Health. They didn't reply, but in the build-up to the December 2019 election, we met the then Shadow Health Minister, Sharon Hodgson.
At the moment, when a woman signs a consent form to have a breast implant operation, they don't have to be given all of this information. And I believe that's wrong. I think on that consent form, it should go into details of breast implant illness, what it means, the percentage, what the worst case scenario. Surely a woman deserves that. The least they should be given is the full details of what may happen, so then they can make an informed choice. And then if they are one of the percentages, you know, where it does go wrong, they will know straight away. They'll be looking out for it. They won't be going back and forward to the doctors and, you know, going on this merry-go-round that so many women that you've spoken to have been on. That is just wrong.
One of the surgeons that we've spoken to says that he can't possibly warn women about these symptoms because he doesn't know for sure that it exists.
This is real. All of these women, their symptoms disappear once they have the implants taken out. That proves what is causing their symptoms. Surgeons need to, you know, take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask themselves why they believe it doesn't exist, because they should be telling them before they sign on that dotted line.
It's been a few weeks now since we last saw Beth, and she's asked us to come and meet her in the gym, which I'm guessing is a good sign.
So obviously we're in the gym now. It's something you could have only dreamed of doing before when you were in a lot of pain with your implants. How does it feel now to be able to do this?
Brilliant. It's just freedom, absolute freedom. In terms of the joint pain, I still have a bit, but I've come off my sort of main nerve agent tablets, and I'm just on paracetamol. So, I mean, that I couldn't have functioned before.
And do you think that it's all happened for you as quickly as you'd hoped, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think realistically I had those implants in for sort of 12, 13 years, so I can't expect everything to go overnight. And things are complicated. My key to happiness in life is your health, and I've never take that for granted again.
So for any of those people out there that think breast implant illness isn't real, what would you say to them now?
I think it's actually, when you think about it, totally common sense to assume that it could cause your system some disruption. So I think the people who are sort of coming up against breast implant illness are the ones with a vested interest.
Often it's surgeons when it's their bread and butter, and the medical device industry in general has a lot to lose. It's just scary. Scary what was sat in my body for that long.
So for Beth, her life is getting back on track, but at the moment there's no way of knowing exactly how many women are living with near permanent pain like she was just a few months ago. If social media is anything to go by though, it could be hundreds of thousands. Acknowledgement of breast implant illness and further research into it is starting to happen, but unless the professionals can agree on whether it truly exists or not, it's hard to see how there can be any real change.